Hey everybody, this stream is a quick one. God's grace, hashtag release the sniper cut and Aquaman. And this is going to be a very quick stream, but I just wanted to tell you guys I'm still around. Much love to you guys. Been home here for a while. With my mom and a lot of other people coming in and out. It's been a good experience. I want to talk about God's grace first of all. A lot of times people think God's grace is God's mercy. That's part of God's grace, but that's not all to it. God's grace is something that rehabilitates us. It rebuilds us, makes us better than we were transformers. So that's the other thing about God's grace. It's really awesome. Um, I just want to just dedicate this airways right now, and I dedicated this house and family to the Lord. This everything on this airways. I pray that the Lord direct my mouth as to what to say. And also, I pray that this airways be blessed and dedicated to the Lord right now. This stream. I want to talk to you guys about a whole bunch of stuff. So let's start with the Release the Snyder Cut movement. The Release the Snyder Cut movement to me is very much like God's grace is to me. It's a transformative sort of thing. Some of the most recent news in the Snyder Cut movement, which I thought was really cool, was when Zack Snyder showed that in the concept art that the paradigms actually were formed from people who had been transformed into paradigms, who died, got killed, and they were transformed into paradigms. And that's very gruesome, graphic, kind of horrific. But at the same time, I think that life is kind of like that, And how does this parallel with God's grace? Okay, so God's very gracious to everybody, not just to you and me, but to everyone. The world's made up of 7 billion people, 8 billion people, right? And God's gracious to everybody. He lets people do some horrendous things, still gives them a chance. Now you say that's merciful. Yeah. The gracious part about it is God sort of overlooks our crassness, our mean streaks, and our wickedness. And he looks at the potential of us and he tends to that. He gives us the best possible service you could possibly have, in spite of the fact that we don't reciprocate the same. And that's what's being gracious. A gracious person is hospitable, they're kind, they're loving, not just to people who deserve it or people who have a certain status, but to everyone. And that's what graciousness is. And God's like that. And it's very transforming, because when you have a gracious teacher, a gracious parent, gracious leader, what happens is people start to emulate them. They start to love them and appreciate them. Not always, because sometimes after they're gone, that's when people usually appreciate and they give a whole set of platitudes about the individual. But while they were alive, they were treating them just the very opposite, right? But the point is, that's what graciousness is. And in terms of the Snyder Cut movement, we're trying to appeal to Warner Brothers' graciousness. This is pretty much it. We're hoping they'd be gracious to us, not merciful, gracious to us, hear us, and give us that high quality service they usually give us. Allow us to see the Snyder Cut, the best possible version of Justice League, which what I think, no matter what anybody says, and let us see that. And that's what we're appealing to. It's their graciousness, not their mercy, but their graciousness, because we didn't do nothing wrong. So a gracious person is a really awesome person to be around, because that person considers your feelings. It really gives you the carpet treatment, the red carpet treatment, pulls out every single stop. I remember there was a friend of mine named Matt. I was homeless at the time, and I was helping Matt out with help other homeless people. And Matt always said, look, I'm going to he cook up fried chicken. You get the best stuff he had, and he'd give it to these people. And it taught me that that's graciousness. Graciousness is where you give up your very best. You roll out the red carpet. Some people call it hospitality. But it doesn't matter if that person's homeless or poor or can't give you back something. You're going to give them your best. And that's what graciousness is. That's what God does every single day. He gives us the best he's got of himself. And so you just have to, every single day, he gives the best of what he can give us. And think about that. We are the limiting factor. We're the ones who just block him and say, "No, I don't want that. Nah, I can't. That's not possible." That's what we do him every step of the way. And he takes the rejection all the time, and he still comes back and tries to give us like his best. I love that. I love that about God. He doesn't quit. He's not a quitter. My mom right now, she's having a little difficulty passing some stuff, but she'll get through. So you know, that's what hashtag release the Snyder Cut is. We're appealing to the person's gracious side. Now, in terms of Aquaman, man, I really enjoyed the Aquaman trailer. That one shot with James Wan giving us that view, that long shot, was just pretty awesome. There's a lot about Aquaman that's still not really lashed into. But that one thing with Black Manta and that cold chase scene was pretty awesome. It was dope. If the movie's anything like that, I'm going to enjoy it. The CG looks a lot better, but again, it reminds me a little bit of Marvel and what Marvel's been doing. Even though I can tell the story is a lot different to any Marvel movie we've ever seen, story-wise, this thing is going to be good. But when it comes to the actual cinematography, it kind of reminds me of a Marvel film more than anything else. Nonetheless, I think James Wan is going to pull off a pretty good job. I know there's not as much excitement on the internet about Aquaman. I've noticed that the views we get for the Aquaman feature film from Warner Bros. Is not as high as, say, the views of Justice League, which is supposed to be, smack it out the park. And again, Zack Snyder was going to be controversial with Justice League in a number of different ways. I think Batman was supposed to die and all of that. But at the end of the day, I still want to see Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, definitely. And we're still pushing for it. I see a lot of people still on Twitter pushing for the Snyder cut, and that's very good. Keep it going, guys. But at the end of the day, I want to talk about God's grace. Thank you, people who just checked out my video on Praise to God. It's actually from Psalms 9, 1 and 2. It's really awesome. And I think if you really want to honor somebody, if you really want to show them how thankful you are, the best way is to live out what they do in your life and always treat them with respect, integrity, and with love. And you'll find that, and appreciate what they're saying and listen to what they're saying, because I think that's the best way you can give thanks to anybody. I look at funeral after funeral after funeral when I go to funerals. I really don't like going to funerals, I'll be honest with you. But every time I go to a funeral, there's all these nice things to say about people when they're gone. It always appeals to me. It really makes me kind of annoyed, because when these people were alive, you wouldn't hear these good things about them. And why do you wait till somebody's dead to say good things about them, or to convey how you feel? Or you have to wait till they're sick to go see them, and then they're like all looking it down and stuff. Come on, man. When people are well and they're doing well in their life, that's when you need to be around. And then when the bad times come, you're also there too, because you care. And this is how I think about things. And again, God's grace. God's grace. You want to give the best of what you got. And I know a lot of people want to give the best of what they got. And sometimes people reject their best and all of that. And it's kind of heartbreaking. But you know what? At the end of the day, don't stop doing good. There's a scripture that says, what does it say? It says, I'll tell you what it says. Just hold on a second. It says, don't get tired. Don't get weary doing good. Don't get weary doing good. A lot of us get discouraged somewhere along the way. I was just talking to my sister-in-law about that. And I myself get discouraged sometimes. But you know something? It's not about me or anybody else. It's about doing good. If it has to be done, you do it. Do what's good. It's your duty to do good. It's your duty to forgive other people and move forward and try and work together with other people. And nobody ever said that's going to be easy. But at the end of the day, God's grace. Look how many people God works with. And look how many people reject him. So we need to do the same. You know what I mean? Anyway, you could leave your comments in the chat section. I'm about to get out of here. It's 3:48 in the day. I gotta go check on my mom again just to see how she's going. I'll leave her. I want to give her a space and everything, because it's always good to give people their space. They really appreciate you more for that giving them room to be themselves and do what they do. And they'll call you, not you just kind of unsolicitedly just come in and invade their space. People don't like that. I don't. So treat people with respect. That's what I always tell you guys. So if you guys got anything to say, cool. If you got nothing to say, it's all right. I'll move on to the next. All right. Let's check the chat section. Cool. Nobody saying nothing. I'm out of here. It was nice talking to you guys. Deuces. Peace.